What's happening, Lazy Bunch fans? Dan here, and I know it's been a little while, hasn't it? But we're well on our way through 2025. A lot of pre-production stuff is happening. But with that being said, you all have a couple of questions that you asked me at the beginning of this year, and I'd like to answer those sooner rather than later. We're also going to talk about a number of big updates happening this year. The 15th anniversary of Lazy Bunch is happening in October this year. So first question from Nitro, if you had to change one aspect of Halo 5 story, what would it be? Oh, what is one aspect I would change a Halo 5 story? And I think a lot of people arguably agree that the story is probably the weakest point of Halo 5. I will regrettably admit that the multiplayer was fun at the time. It was a lot of fun. I have a lot of quarrels with a lot of other aspects of the game. If I had to change one aspect of the story, just one, I would get rid of the Warden battles. I can understand one Warden battle. If you were to pitch this to me, a Marvel movie, and say, I'm gonna fight Loki 3 times in the same film. What? Okay, I know the way I frame that is kind of vague. Like, if you watch a movie, like, okay, maybe the fight's at the beginning, and it's like, okay, then the hero has to redeem himself at the end of the movie, but like, I'm not gonna be fighting the same character multiple times in the same story. Like, but there's a lot of other things. I wish the story was more grounded, like how we saw in the trailers and the teaser. I don't know, the game didn't do it justice. I thought the marketing behind the game was much more intriguing than the game itself. And that's, I don't know, maybe it changed in development, and from what I've heard and what I've seen, yes, that's what happened. A lot of the story elements changed, but I don't know, man. It's, yeah, Halo 5, the story. I am just not a fan. Next, we got one from Aquifer Unknown asking his first question of the video. Welcome, Aquifer, as always. Which season of MCC was your favorite when they still did those? So I honestly forgot about some of the seasons. Like, I remember there are some seasons where it's just weapon skins and vehicle skins, so I totally forgot. Like, I had to look this up. Season 7 Elite was my favorite. And I know people are gonna say, well, what about season 1 with the Halo Reach stuff? I mean, that was fine too, but like, I don't know what it was about the Elite season. Like, that one had just had a lot of cool stuff. Like, everyone was hyped about that. I was hyped about it. My friend Megalodon302, he was hyped about it. He and I did a couple of Halo shorts together during that time. Just something about season 7, I just thought was a lot of fun. Plus, you got the completion of the Halo 4 armor sets. So around that time when I was making Lone Wolf's Extraction, there are some armor cores that I was like, oh, I don't have the Prefect armor in MCC, and I can use that for a character in Extraction now. Season 8 Mythic, I remember, was really weird when they first like teased it. I myself think some of the armors are kind of cool. I just thought it was weird, and a lot of other people thought it was weird too. It's still weird, but I mean, it's kind of cool. It has its own aesthetic and everything, and it knows it's weird, and that's kind of what happened in season 9. Even though season 9 is not its own season, I would say the most recent 3 seasons are probably the best ones, just because they kind of went a little bit left field with it. They're like, how crazy could we go with some of these? Next, we got one from Asteroid. Asteroid, man, it's been a while. Yo, Dan, it's been a while. I wanted to check in as I've been away from the Machinima community for a bit and hoping to get back into body acting this year. How's it going? Also, are there any plans for the Perfect Soldiers universe after the next project? So to answer your first part, things are going well. Things are going great. In my last Ask Lazy Bunch for December, I kind of talked about switching jobs, switching lifestyles and things like that. So I'm doing much better now, feeling much more relaxed. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Also, are there still plans for Perfect Soldiers universe after the next project? So Perfect Soldiers 3 is kind of like the Avengers of this first phase. It's gonna cap off things, gonna end off some stories, open up some new stories, but it is not the end. There's going to be more after that. We still want to do a Lone Wolves 2, like an official one. This is still Lone Wolves 2, but like we want to do like an actual Lone Wolves 2 season. We also want to do a Reclaimer 2. I've talked to a number of different people who kind of want to contribute to this fun, like Guardians of the Galaxy type story thing. There are also ideas. I literally have like full spreadsheets of various ideas that I want to continue off. I want to do a story about Ava. I want to do a story about Lisa Fields. Like, there's all these story plots that I would wish and hope that would lead to something in the future. There's a lot of things that come into making a big cinematic universe that you don't really anticipate. There's a lot of influence from the outside world into these things, so you never really know. But yes, we definitely want to continue telling stories afterwards. Like I said, Lone Wolves 2, Claimer 2, those are the main ones. Outside of that, it's really, there's a lot of fun ideas we have, and it's just a matter of seeing what goes where and when. XtraNinja's here asking his first question, favorite weapon from Halo 4? I actually have 3 because my first answer is kind of boring. My favorite weapon is the DMR. No, but I really love the railgun and the saw gun. Those are just Next, we got another question from Nitro asking, what is your favorite thing about being a human? Well, man, you're really diving deep into the psyche here. You know, as destructive as we may be, free thinking, the thoughts, the creativity, the inspiration behind art and feeling and emotion, and even through the good and the bad, humanity can and will endure. And it's something to be very proud of. It's something to like really look at, and you look at like the animal kingdom and then you look at humanity and you see, wow, humanity has like evolved. What? I don't know, man. That's what I got. That's what I got. What is your favorite thing about being a human? Witnessing what is happening to humanity, the good and the bad. Preferably the good. We all want good things to happen, and the one thing that I've learned as I age is how much people come together through times of bad and crisis and things like that. You know, it's truly inspirational. It is, and it really makes you reflect on your life and what you could do to help it and things like that. So that's kind of what I get. So humanity, good and the bad, sometimes sucks, but you know what? There's some good things too. There's some good things about being human. Next, we got a question from a newcomer named, I think his name's Paralias. I'm totally botching that. I'm so sorry. Hi, sorry I found your YouTube channel randomly. Well, I found Rise of Spartans first. Rise of Spartans is really good. Go watch that. After binge watching Red vs. Blue again and have been randomly watching Machinima stuff, I watched Lone Wolves from you guys and maybe started in the middle on accident. Was hoping that maybe you guys continue Reynolds' story. I'm not sure why, but it really drew me in. The entire story and the characters, while seeming to lack depth, are actually very deep, as it is left to the audience to sort of decide, and I really enjoy that. Gosh, I'm so sorry. My dyslexia is really kicking in right here. All that to say, is there at all a continuation of Reynolds' story? I'm an hour into Reclaimer and hoping to see more of his story. So my friend, welcome to the channel, welcome to the server, but great questions here. Lone Wolves, I admit, is not aging as well as I have liked. I actually had a good conversation with Cannibal about it. He brought it up that some of the parts of Lone Wolves, especially towards the end, are starting to not age as well as we had hoped. I agree with you. I didn't make the characters as deep as I had liked, and that was done on purpose because I wanted the audience to perceive these characters their own way, and I even did that with Reynolds. So yeah, that I realized that kind of backfired, especially towards the end, because now it's like, okay, I have these characters who weren't established. You get the idea. Anyway, Reynolds' story is in Lone Wolves. He's in this, actually, Lone Wolves Extraction, which takes place right after Lone Wolves. He is not in Reclaimer. He's in the post-credits scene. So Reynolds' story does continue. It's going to be in the next project, which is Perfect Soldier's Extinction. In that, we're going to have all the characters from Reclaimer, Lone Wolves, Perfect Soldier Elimination. We're gonna have all these characters come together. The good guys and the bad guys all fighting each other. It's gonna be a big, fun battle. I am 200 pages into this thing. It is the longest Machinima I've ever written, the most in-depth Machinima. We're diving into characters we never thought we'd dive into. Kind of tricky to say how much he evolves as a character in that particularly, because it's not necessarily about him. It's mainly about some of the older generation characters that we don't really know very well. You know, stories about Anderson, Commander Wells, and some of the other newcomers that we've never seen before. So Reynolds is going to grow from this, and then that'll lead into Lone Wolves 2. So like, there's gonna be some really cool things in this, and I hope you stick around to watch those when they come out. Last but not least, we got another question from XtraNinja, capping off this video. If a game have you choose between being a hero or a villain, what would you choose? By being the hero, the game becomes harder for you and rewards you with the good ending. If you instead become the villain, the game becomes easy as you are overpowered and receive the bad ending. All right, listen. As someone who prefers to play video games on an easier setting, I don't want to be stressed out when playing a game. Like, I don't want to get angry and upset and things like that at a game. Unfortunately, I'd have to go with picking a villain. I would rather be a villain in a story. Now, a lot of movies and books and stories typically make the villains far more interesting than the heroes. Now, there is some honor into playing on a harder mode, to be the hero, to have a greater ending and things like that. Yes. And as someone who has gone through a lot of bad things in life and has come out happier on the other end, I can definitely say that yes, it is far more worth it for that. However, it doesn't mean I want the stress and anxieties that I have had, that I have gone through and things like that. So, hey guys, Future Dan here. As I was editing this video, and granted it's taken a little bit longer than expected, during this time, Nate Spidey18 asked a really good question, and I felt that I should include it in this video because it has been about a month or two since I closed off questions for the previous video. Anyway, Nate Spidey18 asks, where is the recent news of your Machinima projects? Either I have been living under a rock or haven't heard anything from you. Really, we're still kind of in that pre-production phase. Yes, it is taking forever. The one thing I love about HCM that you and your team have done is that you kind of have like monthly posts in your Discord about like updates of what's happening. And I really need to be a little bit more transparent with that kind of stuff. The first drafts of 1 through 13 are done, and the second drafts of like 1 through 10 are done. Just gotta go through the ending and then go through all the scripts one more time, and then we'll be ready to start production. But it's just one of those things where we've been taking so long on this. I think now it's just a mental thing. Like, we've worked so hard on these scripts already that we're telling ourselves anything less than perfect is not good. And I've said this many times that this is the end of the first phase, setting up the next phase. And so a lot of ideas and concepts that we are currently working on here is messing with some of the things we want to do, and we don't want to just throw in a random thing here knowing that that's going to create Lone Wolves 2, or something just thrown randomly in there that's going to create Reclaimer 2. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that every idea that we have actually makes sense for the next idea. I do apologize for not being so transparent as I used to. I definitely need to just sit down and just make some more announcements, get more involved on Discord again, and just make monthly posts even. Maybe just make a quick thing that says, hey, everyone, here's what we did this month. We'll work on scripts for this and this and this. You know, that is a good point, and I definitely need to start doing that. So thank you, Nate Spidey18. Thank you for the question. But that is the last question of the video. I know, a very short one. We don't really get these short ones very often. A lot of them in the past have been like 30 plus questions reaching into like a 30-minute to 45-minute video or a quick speed round. But this time I got to sit down, got to explain my answers a little bit more, have a little more fun with this. But this year has shaped up to be a great year so far. I know there hasn't been a lot on the channel. There's still some shorts coming out every once in a while. I apologize for the mess. These are all sticky notes pertaining to the story of Perfect Soldier's extinction. I think extinction is, and I say this with every machinima, but extinction truly is the best machinima we've ever made. Sure, there's a couple of things that I am mentally stressing out about, like we don't have an animator. And I've tried learning Blender along the way here and there. And admittedly, I got really into Blender at one point while writing this. I forgot about writing this, spent too much time on Blender, and then realized, wait, no, I gotta get back into this. I gotta finish this before I worry about that. And I don't know anyone who will be able to do this. I know a couple people in mind who I haven't asked yet, but I know some people are really busy with their own channels, and I'm afraid to ask some people. I'm afraid to throw it out there because I know how it feels to really work on your own channel, to have your own branding, to have your own followers and things like that. And you don't want to waste your time focusing on someone else. But if anyone knows an animator or is an animator and wants to reach out to me, please feel free. Again, I don't know how much I could offer, but please reach out to me. If you know anything about space battles, particularly space battles, that would be much appreciated. So please reach out to me. Find me on Discord. And we'll get talking. There's a bunch of other fun things that my inspiration has been swirling in my mind these past few weeks. You know, I'm excited to share some of those ideas and stories with you, provide you all with much needed and promised entertainment for this channel. That's gonna wrap up for today's video. Thanks for watching. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, check out the Discord server, and hey, if you ever want to talk machinima, comment down below. Rise of Spartans, check out Rise of Spartans if you haven't. Have a good one.